Welcome to Stanbee's Standards for Success. This video series will show users how to get optimal activation out of Stanbee's heel counter product. Meeting Stanbee's standards for success will ensure that a properly molded counter will provide great shape, optimal stiffness, and a great fit for exceptional wear. Stanbee recommends a hot mold, cold mold process as the most consistent way to get heat into and out of the heel counter. First, we familiarize you with the components we recommend for proper back part molding. This demo machine has 4 types of mold, 2 hot and 2 cold, which can replicate different options in footwear. The recommended hot mold activation bond line temperatures are from 85 to 95 degrees Celsius. The cold mold then locks the shape at temperatures down to 30 degrees Celsius. The hot mold size should be smaller or equal to the cold mold to prevent a crease issue. Dwell times in the mold vary according to thickness of counter material and thickness and type of materials used in the upper. Stanbee uses this tool to determine optimal settings for products with Stanbee materials in their back part shapes. Let's look at the components. The hot mold with air bladder press pad can heat the counter from inside and outside at the same time. The air pad creates consistent pressure to all areas of the heel. The hot mold with silicone rubber press pad can add heat to the counter inside and outside at the same time. The silicone pad can accurately mirror the shape of the mold to ensure consistent pressure against upper to hot mold. The cold mold with air bladder press pad allows consistent pressure to all areas of the heel and ensures that heel shape is locked and to exact form of previous heel shape. Cold mold with contoured rubber press pad offers a contoured rubber press pad that mirrors the last heel shape and is known as the most durable press pad. The digital readout panel shows real-time temperatures of the mold and heel press pad, which allows for measuring change in mold temperatures. The infrared scanner measures the surface temperature of the hot and cold mold surface and press pad surface. The scanner can also calibrate temperatures shown on the digital readout panel. The thermocouple thermometer uses a probe to get the accurate temperature measurements on the surface of the mold and press pad. With the wire probe inserted between the counter and upper, the thermocouple can measure the actual bond line temperature during heat activation and cooling. Operation begins by setting temperature and dwell time before molding. The operator uses the infrared scanner and the thermocouple thermometer probe to carefully set temperatures. Correct thresholds for heating and cooling are critical to bonding, shape, and performance of Stanbee counters. The thermocouple wire is inserted between the counter and the shell to measure the temperatures of the counter during the heating and cooling process. Note how the counter has no V-notch. This will maximize strength and consistency. Stitching the counter into the shell will ensure optimal placement. Alternative adhesives should not be an option for placement. With counter material stitched into the upper, the operator aligns the upper on the mold with the help of an infrared positioning mark. Note how the thermocouple thermometer is wired to the counter material to measure temperature in the counter and upper during the heat, activation, and cooling process. To achieve the optimal benefits of each Stanbee product, specs for heating and cooling should be followed. TPU hot melt cement starts to soften at approximately 60 degrees Celsius. TPU hot melt reaches sufficient bonding at 80 to 90 degrees Celsius. The cooling process will set the counter and heel shape temperatures down to 30 degrees Celsius. Accurate dwell times for heating and cooling are critical. Dwell times are determined on a model-by-model basis according to construction and thickness of materials of the upper, the number and types of materials between the mold and counter material, and the thickness of the counter materials. Following the Stanbee standards for success will give you a great back part molded product for your shoe. A well-activated and processed counter ensures optimal stiffness, fit, comfort, and satisfied customers. Contact Stanbee to make sure your molding is meeting Stanbee's standards for success.